Hey guys, what is going on and welcome back to Mark's Tech. So in my previous video that I did about the OnePlus 9 Pro up against the iPhone 12 Pro Max camera comparison test, I've asked you guys if you wanted to see a video of the OnePlus 9 Pro up against the S21, even though it's not really a fair video because this is more expensive and has more camera features than the S21, but just a fun little comparison, and a lot of you have said yes. Now with that last video of the OnePlus 9 Pro up against the iPhone 12 Pro Max, I did that video after the OnePlus 9 Pro camera update, and guess what? Later on that same day, there was another camera update for the OnePlus 9 Pro. It's safe to say that they released that camera, or that phone I should say, a little too early. Maybe they should have worked out the kinks. But anyway, this video that you guys will see will be with the second camera update with the OnePlus 9 Pro, and we'll compare it to obviously the S21 with its multiple updates as well. So as always guys, let's start this comparison out by showing some of the photos from the main camera. The S21 has a 12 megapixel f1.8 wide camera which has a typical reach of around 26 millimeters. And the OnePlus on the other hand has a 48 megapixel f1.8 with a reach of 23 millimeters. Both phones, as I mentioned, have an f1.8 which is great and fast. Nighttime photos should definitely look amazing. And I'll be quiet now and show you guys some more photos and you be the judge. Next up is the ultra wide lens, which is probably my favorite lens on the OnePlus 9 Pro. The OnePlus 9 Pro has a 50 megapixel f2.2 with a reach of around 14 millimeters. The S21 has a 12 megapixel f2.2 with a reach of around 13 millimeters. So that being said, the OnePlus 9 Pro will be around 1 millimeter more zoomed in than the S21. Both phones look great with the ultra wide, but which one looks the best? Let me know in the comments down below. Now the telephoto camera on these two phones have a different story and a different approach. The OnePlus has an 8 megapixel telephoto lens with 3.3x optical zoom. The S21 on the other hand has a 64 megapixel with a 1.1x optical and a 3x hybrid zoom. So which one takes the edge? Well, on paper the OnePlus should technically destroy the S21, but remember this comparison isn't really a fair one, it's just mostly for fun. But I didn't see the results as of recording this voiceover, so maybe the S21 could surprise us and destroy the OnePlus. And now let's get on to the video side of things. Spoiler alert, both phones are mind-blowing. So now we're recording in 4K 60 on both of the OnePlus and on the S21. Let's check out that stabilization. I am walking on sand, so it should be nice and kind of bumpy. Which one has the better dynamic range? Right now the sun is behind me. If I do turn around, the sun is now in the foreground right above the phone. Let's see how dark that tree is right there on both of the devices. Which one does it best? How's the sound quality? Let me go up this slope. I've never been up there, so let's go up there as well. Oh, I am so out of shape. Oh, almost fell, almost fell. We're good. Damn, how far up is this hill, man? I'm running out of energy. We made it. We made it, boys. Okay, excuse the heavy breathing. Oh my god. So I hope that looked good on both devices. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm still breathing heavy. So now we're recording in the ultra wide. And yes, I'm still breathing heavy. I need water. I'm dying. Oh my god. Oh Jesus. Almost dropped over $2,000 worth of phones. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. I'm definitely gonna fall, guys. I'm letting you know right now. I'm definitely going down. This hill is gonna beat me. So which phone Is holding the stabilization better? So now we're doing telephoto 4K 60. Now the S21 cannot do so, but it doesn't really matter because it honestly doesn't look that good on the OnePlus either. So honestly, I think both fail. So now we're doing the front-facing test. The S21 wins. I mean, I can already see it right now. The S21 can record 4K, and the OnePlus can only record 1080p. And plus, the dynamic range is not that good on the OnePlus, fellas. But it is nice and steady, and it does give you a natural depth of field, as you guys can see in right here. The OnePlus is kind of blurring the trail in the background. Meanwhile, the S21, it's kind of blurring it, but not as much. So I think both phones just really look good, except the HDR on the OnePlus. I'm still breathing heavy. That little hill killed me. The HDR on the OnePlus is a little bad, like really bad, really bad. So now we're walking into the sun. Now both phones are doing good with HDR, but still I give the win to the S21 simply due to the fact that you can record in 4K, and the OnePlus is having a really weird time with HDR. It's like flickering on and off. So I will tell you one thing: if you record a lot of front-facing video, do not get the OnePlus. It just doesn't look good. So this is portrait video on the on the S21. Portrait video. Hopefully it looks pretty good. This works better if you have someone else recording you. Unfortunately, I do not, so I'm just holding the camera backwards. So the rear-facing camera is looking at me. I don't even know how it looks like. I could be way off. Don't know. I guess we'll find out. And now this is portrait video on the OnePlus. Hopefully it looks good. I just reviewed the S21 footage. It's good, you know. I mean, listen, it takes a lot of processing to do, so I'm not gonna minus that. But the S21 was struggling a lot with my hat. Like, it kind of blurred a lot of the hat area. The OnePlus could be doing the same thing. I don't know. I didn't look at the footage yet. But let me know which one you guys like the best. So now here's 4K 60. The sun just went down, basically. And now let's check out that stabilization. And as we all know, or hopefully we all should know, that phones do not do good with stabilization when it comes to night. Usually the photos, or the video comes out looking a little bouncy. But so far from what I'm looking at, it looks pretty good on both of the devices. Actually, the S21 seems to have a hard time focusing. Let me tap in the middle of the screen on the S21. And it's not really focusing that well. The Hasselblad, the OnePlus looks a little darker for sure, but it's focused in, and the S21 is just freaking out. Let me hang on. How do I? All right, it's not focused, but whatever. We're just gonna roll with it. So if you look on the OnePlus right now, that's what I was talking about. So the darker it is, the more kind of blurry the image becomes. And I'm guessing that's why the S21 had a hard time focusing. But it looks like the OnePlus has no focusing issues so far. I mean, both phones right now at this very scene look fantastic. But whenever you come over to nighttime, there's just a lot more noise. Oh, S21's freaking out again. Come on. Come on. Come on. There we go. Nope. Oh, come on. Well, you guys get the idea. Now, the OnePlus also has a feature called Nightscape Video. This limits the video to 1080p 30 frames a second. But as you guys can see, well, that's just it. You can actually see. You can basically see in the dark. I mean, that's incredible. It looks very horrible, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of noise. It is super sharp. But if you compare these two right now, you know what? I'll take the OnePlus any day of the week. Yeah, there we go. So for ultra wide,
I think the S21 kind of wins basically, but I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments down below.
So what did you guys think about this camera comparison? In my opinion, I think both phones look amazing. The OnePlus takes a more natural approach when it comes, especially when it comes to shadows. I've said this years ago, so before someone out there calls me a OnePlus fanboy, listen, I've said this before I even ever used a OnePlus device. It is important for a photo to have shadows, okay? There's a difference between a good shadow and a bad shadow. If the shadow is so black that it is literally missing detail, like the color is literally clipping, that's a bad shadow. But when that shadow actually has detail inside of it, which you can then maybe go into post and bring out that detail, that's a good shadow. So OnePlus is not afraid of shadows. Meanwhile, the S21 is a little bit afraid of shadows, but for some, it actually looks like the better photo. It you know, how do I put this? It doesn't look realistic, but it looks good. Put it that way. But hey, I don't know. I'm just a reviewer. You guys are the consumer. So drop me a comment down below which phone you think is definitely your favorite phone in the world. Don't have a fanboy fight in the comments, please. Or do. I mean, I don't know. I'll probably get more views out of it if you guys do, but don't. But do. This was Mark from Mark's Tech. Adios.